That's taking the picture in your head because you don't speak with your mouth, you speak with your mind.
Right.
You don't even like, you know what I'm saying? You don't even see with your eyes, you see with your mind.
Right.
So when we're talking communication, it's how do you take what's in your mind and find an expression of that?
I am here with one of my faves. In a world of skepticism, someone that I truly admire and inspire in the words and the way that they communicate and connect with others. And I cannot wait for you guys to hear this message, this conversation. Welcome my guest on Rich in Real Life, Marcus Rosier.
Every day I listen to my own thoughts, which is a hack. So when I get ready to create, I don't hear other people, I hear me. Humanity is the only thing God ever made that leaves its environment and then asks God and other people to provide for it. So we leave purpose to chase money and then ask, why am I unfulfilled?
What's up, guys? We are back for another episode of Rich in Real Life. This is your host, your girl, Jessica Hurley, and I am here with one of my favorite faith and business coaches, but someone, look, in a world of skepticism, someone that I truly admire and inspire in the words and the way that they communicate and connect with others and the people that they serve. This is someone that really keeps me going, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear this message, this conversation, what he's up to, and the work that he is doing and the impact that he has and how he is evolving. I think you guys are going to love this episode. So welcome my guest on Rich in Real Life, Marcus Rosier. So one of the things I know, well, we could go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I'll start here because you are a genius across the board. You're one of my favorite people to listen to. And there's a lot of things I think that are unclaimed that I would claim for you for sure. Tell me, with all this experience in the marketplace with other entrepreneurs, operating at the level you're operating at, probably the money that you may or may not have anticipated that you would have.
Yeah.
What does Rich in Real Life feel like to you? Rich
in real life feels like the ability to do what I love, help the people I love without wondering, can I afford it? Yeah, so I get a chance to really be who I am that I said I would be, because we normally say in theory, if I had the money, I would. When you have the money, you get to see, will you? And you're held accountable internally to, man, I am what I said I would be.
What about the folks that never think they would have the money?
Yeah, I think you get a chance. It's a mirror. You get a chance to see, or like, and you realize, for me, money is so not important. What money did for me is allowed me the opportunity to not have to worry about myself. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted. I wanted the ability to function in purpose, where sometimes you can't. I had to, me and oftentimes most people, like this is just life's reality when you're building and you haven't found an environment for your purpose. When you're building, haven't found that environment that's profitable, you have to live part-time, work full-time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when it's not about the money just allows you the opportunity to live full-time.
Did it feel like what you thought it would feel like?
No.
What?
Not at all. Not at all.
Which part?
All of it. It didn't feel like success. Success didn't feel like success. So everybody else knew it before me. Even now. What you're saying to me feels uncomfortable is like, I still don't feel successful.
That's wild.
Yeah, I still don't feel successful.
Because you can put a room in a chokehold. We all like, where are we? Like,
wow. That, you know what's crazy? Like when we were, when you came to the event, and I was watching y'all face, and I would pause and be like, why are y'all looking like that? And you had to tell me, it was like, hey, we were processing.
We were processing.
I didn't know that.
You were taking us layer by layer by layer. No, it's up. It was layer by layer by layer, where it was like, ask yourself this, think this. And it's like, and I think we don't ever get the full breadth of some of the things that were asked or understand. And you really took us, I think in that moment, you took us to this walk through our identity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, what? And I just don't think people give themselves the time or the space to have the foresight or the visualization period of what they can be when given the capacity.
Oh, that's good.
And I think you just said it. I think entrepreneurship, while we gloat and glamorize and all the things, I think what it does is it gives you the space to see who you want to be if given the opportunity. Because in the working space, in the corporate, you are in full survival mode all the time. You are one paycheck away from a slip up. And entrepreneurship can be similar, however. You can lose it all overnight. But I think when you have the margin in the space, you are so and so green or profitable, and you have the financial space, you now have the creative space to be like, I'm not surviving. I have space now. What would I do when I have space?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who would I be? What would I create? How do I feel when I create? And I don't think we get the space and those opportunities to do that. And I think some of the questions that you have proposed before in spaces that I've been in is where I'm like, I have had the space for far too long and not done enough with it.
Ooh.
Does that make sense?
That makes complete sense.
Yeah. Where I'm like, ooh, get back to impact, get back to community, get back to connection. Like, and what burned you before doesn't mean that that's forever. Like someone will burn you out of your passion.
Yeah.
And then you got to come back and be like, and what I really think is true is like, you were just talking about purpose and passion. What I love that I've seen, and I ain't been in the game as long as you. It's been like 5-6 years. But what I've already seen in the cycle is like, you will be doing something that you're like, I would do this if you didn't pay me. I would do this
100%.
and I love it.
100%.
And then something or someone comes along that burns you right out of it. You're like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
I'm never touching that again.
Yeah.
And then when you get back to a comfortable space that gives you the space to create and kind of like, you get to stretch a little bit, flex a little bit. You're like, damn, if all else fails, I want to go back to the thing.
Yeah.
As I love doing that. That feels like impact. That feels like purpose to me. And even an unhealthy, undesirable experience can't take me away from that.
So true. I think it go both ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you said that feels like, and you can add words to it, but there's also seasons of evolution where you can't add words to describe that feeling.
Me, the last 3 months,
right?
Literally.
That feels good, embarrassing, scary, right? So it's a mix of emotions, and normally that's the version of you that you used to be is holding on to that last piece of this used to feel good.
And I'm trying to stretch to something new, but I ain't made it there yet.
Yeah.
That's what I kept. That was you just checked on me recently.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 times over the course of like 4 months. And you kept saying, well, what does it feel like? And what I keep saying to you?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what this is right now, but I got nothing. I got no words. And I am a woman of many words.
But you have to know that that's okay. That's the hard part. When you're a high achiever, we like to clearly define things fast and have a vivid vision.
Yes.
But you have to know that.
Oh, don't let me be visionless.
Yeah,
I'm out here blind. It's a mess.
Yeah. Which we all struggle with, right? Like I'm transitioning into a new iteration. Let me just say, to the me I was always meant to be.
I was about to say your highest self.
Yeah.
Say it with your chest.
Yeah, me I was always meant to be. So you're embracing that because the part of me that is humble doesn't see me, but the part of me that is self-aware does.
Right.
Right. So the self-awareness is like, you got more than this. You can do more than this. You don't enjoy this. You're not abandoning a group of people to no longer provide this for them. Why it takes from you. Right.
Right.
So now it's like, yo, when you make that transition, I can't clearly define all of it, but I know for a fact I'm supposed to do this. Like, that's the thing. I know I'm supposed to be doing this. I know I'm supposed to be helping another group of people that I can't see clearly, and I got to leave a group of people I can't see clearly. I'm okay with that.
What is this?
This for me now is to fully embrace that I have actually mastered some things. And before I didn't feel comfortable saying that, but it's true. I've mastered some things.
You got some receipts.
Yeah, I've mastered some things. The way I word it, and I'm gonna word it even moving forward this weekend. I got an event coming up. Is I've been able to master closing the gap between I want to and I did that. I don't live very long in my head on I want to do that. So
Right.
I've mastered the skill of what it takes to make it out of my head and make it to an outcome externally, so I can get data and start improving on getting better at it. Most people are so in their head on something. Like, let me word it this way. Most people are so in their head still on the grocery list. I closed the gap between the grocery list, cooking it and tasting it. Now I know next time I make it, it was too salty.
Right.
You can't live forever on the grocery list, fam.
Right.
So like I've mastered closing that gap. I want to do this. How fast can I learn it? I call it putting a clock on your thoughts. If not, we will call education a different word from procrastination. Well, I'm just researching. No, you're not. You cannot perfect or educate or research something you ain't done. So the greatest educator is adapting on something you've done. Or Bro, little Timmy, how long you gonna read a book on riding bikes? Ride the bike.
Right. Right. Ride the bike.
Ride the bike.
Yeah.
So you learn from falling. You learn how to walk from falling. You learn how to swim from swimming. So in the space, you got to close the gap and put a actual, when I say clock and calendar on your thoughts, how long does it take to learn it? How long does it take before you do it? That's a clock and that's a calendar. I'm going to study for this long. I'm going to do it on this date, and then I'll research what I can do better. And this is how we grow.
Yeah.
That's what I've mastered. I've mastered closing the gap, putting a clock on my thoughts and holding myself to the highest level of responsibility to say, how hard would I work if nobody knew I was working?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like how hard would I work if nobody knew I was working? How long would I work if nobody could see it? I have an internal clock, an internal scoreboard. I'm scoring me. Just say, yeah, that was good. That wasn't my best.
Right.
I don't listen to that outside note. Man, you killed. Likes and comments is not the ballot box to vote on my credibility.
Let me ask you a question. You told me this really unique story one time because I was like, where did you get these skills from? That you speak so well and on your feet.
Wow.
And you study.
Yeah.
And you have a schedule, and I want to get to that. But you told me this really, really unique story about, obviously, if you can't tell already, being a pastor's kid.
Yeah.
And being forced to speak on stage and do your first sermon.
Yeah.
Can you just, I just want to hear it again.
You would pull out my most embarrassing story. Lord.
Because the way you described to me that you could hear the people in the bathroom talking about you.
Yeah.
And then in that moment, you decided, like, you'll never catch me with my pants down again.
Never. I pointed to the catch me with my pants down. Oh man, yeah. So my first time speaking, I was put on the spot by my father. He felt like something was in me and put me on the spot. This awkward silence, 100 people waiting on him to speak on a Sunday morning, and he was like, "No,
there was something in you. It just wasn't on that Sunday."
Right. He had me to speak, and he would not move like it. You know, it's cute at first, but 5 minutes later, cute turns into awkward.
Right.
Like if we sit in silence for 5 minutes, you're like, "Is he okay?"
Yeah.
And I'm just
You're right over there.
sitting there and finally stand up to speak. And I can't say that it was bad information.
No.
Oddly enough, I still remember what I taught. And that was, man, we in 2024 at the time of this. That was 15 years ago, 15 years ago,
Yeah.
right? I still remember it. So it was good information, but it was bad presentation. So I didn't know how to piece together all that I knew in a way that people could receive it. Man, and finished and went to the bathroom, like rushed through the crowd, went to the bathroom, and could hear people that I really respected. That was like a second mom to me. So their voice mattered. Their voice held more weight in my life than if somebody else said it. My brother or sister said it, I'd laugh it off, but like, I was in that bathroom crushed. I could hear everything they were saying, how bad it was. Hope he don't continue to do this. Hope his dad don't have him put up there, this, and this. But these are the same ones that just told me on the way into the bathroom how amazing I was.
Yeah.
Oh, we so proud of you. Give me a hug. That was so amazing. Yeah, maybe keep going. And then it's, oh, that's awful. That's this. And it crushed me. I was in that bathroom crying my eyes out. You know what I'm saying? It emotionally did something to me. It's like if somebody broke my arm. Like it broke something in me emotionally. But it created something, man.
Created a monster.
Oh my God. And like I was too embarrassed to come out because they're waiting to come in the bathroom. It's a singular bathroom. So like I gotta walk through them on the way out. Stay in that bathroom a long time. By the time I came out, I made a commitment that every day I was never going to go a day without practicing, like being prepared. Like I'm never going to stand on stage or in front of people or communicate in any environment. Right? Whether it's a micro stage, which could be social media, whether it's a dinner table, whether it's a podcast, I'm never going to. And when I say prepared, that doesn't mean scripted because I don't know what you're going to ask me.
Right.
It just means if a basketball player is going to be good at basketball, he has to do weight training.
Right.
If a speaker is going to be good at speaking, clear communication comes from a clear mind. So the muscle you work in your brain is focus and clarity for the words to come out clear.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Right. So that means input.
Yep.
You got to feed yourself content, reading. I don't read large psalms. Like
I was just about to ask you that, and I was like, input matters, but like at what level and what
Yeah.
level of consumption?
I used
Because
to read.
I can
used to read a
consume
lot.
myself out of a thought.
Yeah, I used to read a lot, which I still do. When I say a lot for me is consistency.
Right.
So I consistently read every single day, whether it's I read physical books, audio book, and every day I listen to my own thoughts, which is a hack. So when I get ready to create, I don't hear other people, I hear me.
And most people say your thoughts aren't real.
Yeah, I hate hearing myself speak. However, I force myself to watch myself, listen to myself, because if you consume only other people's books, other people's audio, other people's podcasts, other people's video, when you create, you hear them.
That was the most valuable thing you told me when I was in a rut. You were like, you cannot step away from creating because you have this brand that you have created and you can't just drop it off on the corner. And I was like, but I have nothing to say. And you said, well, you know what you have to do when you have nothing to say. And I said, what's that? And you said, go back and listen to yourself.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And you were like, how many podcast episodes do you have? I said, oh, I got over 250. You were like, great, go back and listen to them.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm playing them things. And I'm like, oh, you could have done that differently.
Yeah,
Oh, that was
yeah.
good. Where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
Oh, you forgot that you experienced that.
Yeah.
You don't even bring that up anymore. Where did you lose her? Where'd you leave her?
Wow.
And I'm like, man, like that. Like it was like, go back to you. And I do think we become little mimicking machines of the things that we consume and hear. And that's what I've become afraid of. So I'm hearing you. And like, I want to talk about the schedule that you've created for yourself because, oh my God, you said it like it was rhythm and flow, but I was like, this sounds like a homework assignment, but it's important that you have a flow in life. And I'm like, I get in seasons where I'm afraid to overconsume because I'm like, I want to hear me.
Yeah.
I don't want to delete me from the equation.
Yeah.
Like, I want to hear my thoughts. Even if they don't make sense, may I write them out, scribe them out, say them until they form something, but I don't want to hear everyone else because I'll start to like pocket things into place and almost as if there's little blanks, like, oh, I'll take that from here and this from here. And how do I kind of marry my own thoughts? And I think you've created like a schedule and a framework for that.
Yeah, for the thought process, yeah. And even let me clean up something really quick. When I say that I listen to myself, I want people to hear it correctly. The you are now will always be different from who you were a year ago, 2 years ago,
Absolutely.
3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So when you're listening to yourself, you're expanding on a thought. It's a continuation. So you are touching again something that you originally created, but now you're more skilled.
Right.
So you can literally take the same thing
And expand on it.
and make it better.
Oh, I'm listening like that elementary ass version of that thing you did. Like people liked that.
100%.
But it was only because I have become more skilled in those thoughts.
We know them. We know that as products, right? So like this is iPhone, I don't know if it's 11, 12, 13, whatever. It's a upgraded version of an
the
original
same
idea,
iPhone, right?
That's what we have in terms of ideas. We start with an original idea and we keep expanding on the 13, the 14, the 15, or we should. Sometimes we don't. So what I give myself, even in our company, myself and some of my main leaders, we talk about, we plan going into the year because I'm super creative, but so I keep myself disciplined. I get 4 upgrades, 2 innovations. So going into the year, I know I can look at something we already have, and this version of me in 2024 could upgrade 4 things in our company, but I'm only going to introduce two innovations. Because innovations take so much and could hurt your bottom line as a company, could ruin productivity. Well, let me not say ruin, slow down productivity, changes output, hurts you emotionally because you think something's wrong when really it's lag time of a new idea.
How do you acknowledge the desire versus what is well timed for you to innovate?
So I got a bunch of different KPIs on it, man. So the faith side of me leans into that too. I trust God in me. Like, so there is this.
The way you the way you combine the two is one of my favorite things. Actually. Yeah.
I feel like I don't compartmentalize, right?
No, you don't.
So if me and you are friends, I trust that if I ask you things in media and podcasting and visuals, like you're amazing at what you do. I trust your expertise because you would lead me into an outcome that I'm looking for.
Right.
I feel that way about God. I feel like it is not a compartmentalization of a day of the week. I feel like that everything that matters to me matters to him.
Right.
So when I have conversations with God, I always pray because I don't know. Sometimes I live in ignorance. So I say, hey, I'm too ignorant to know. So make me want what you want. So when the desire intensifies and when the desire leaves, that's part of how he works with me. Because I asked for that. Hey, I don't hear your voice all the time. So if you really want this, remove the joy from this, create a desire for this to where this was my real prayer years ago. And the same way my body know when I'm hungry, let me emotionally know when I'm without something I'm supposed to have. My prayer, my intimate moment in prayer with God was, I don't know all the time. Like we don't. That uncertainty, I don't know. I don't know when I'm supposed to be doing something, where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to use willpower and stick with something, or when I'm supposed to use strength to leave something.
Right.
So I pray in the same way my physical body that you made knows when I'm hungry. Like God gave us sensors, headache, etc. to know when we're hungry. I made my soul and emotion know when I'm without something I'm supposed to have. Like, I don't want to live in what I call faithfulness, but I'm living an unfulfilled life.
How often do you and I think you kind of said it, but how often do you know that feeling and acknowledge that feeling?
I try to sit in it every day to figure it out. Like, I got a prayer I call Heaven's Best Confession. I teach it to my people. Like, I'm in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, meeting the right people, saying the right words. What God thinks, I think. What God wants, I want. And heaven's best is released over my life. This and more starting now. Say it every day. Right? So this thought of, I believe that I'm in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, meeting the right people, and I'm saying the right words. Say it every day. And I sit in that. Now, I don't know if I get it right, but that's where my check-ins with me happens morning and evening, where it's like my mission, right? My I call it LMS, life mission statement.
Yeah.
Did I do what pleased God? Did I do what I'm gifted at and love doing? What helps people? What pays me well? So normally those questions are introspective that aligns with, and it'll start, I ain't doing what I'm gifted at and love doing. It got to score 1 out of 1. So that lets me know how long you going to live when I'm scoring it, because I write it in my phone with daily notes. Marcus, for the last few months, you've been saying you're doing what you're gifted at, but not what you love doing. You don't love that no more.
What's something you burned down when that was clear?
Yeah, last year we revamped my entire coaching and education business. So everything we sold, we didn't sell anything for a whole year. Now, let me give context to this so this makes sense how hard it is. You're talking about millions of dollars. We ain't talking about to not sell nothing for a whole year. We're talking about offers between $3,000 and $30,000. We're talking about Course and Funnel Accelerator, which was a program where it's done for you. We create a person's course, funnel, emails, copywriting, and launch them in 30 days. It's $10,000 for 30 days. We would take on 20 clients a month. That's $200,000 a month. Yeah. To not sell that for a year, to say, I want to do this better and I want to help people better. Hey, that's hard. And it's hard for your staff that's with you, because now your payroll don't change, done for you, stacks your payroll. Yes. It's like, who do you? Yes. So you got to think, in 1 year, we did for one aspect of the company, we did a full staff turnover, all new people and all new offers, all new systems, all new softwares, all new SOPs, all new fulfillment processes. Like, how do we get the information from the client? How do we get it back to them? How do we track their progress? We created client concierge within our company. So now within, let's say 10 to 20 people, each person is assigned to them for what do we communicate to them Monday, Wednesday, Friday? What data comes back to us? We got something that's almost like a credit report where, in terms of payment history, payer mix, we have that for our clients. So as we can predict who's not going to follow through with this system we have in place, like what it takes to rebuild that. Because you're building internal infrastructure, turnover in staff, and what you'll be selling to the market, which means when you do that, all new funnels, all new ads, all new emails, all new follow-up systems. You got to retrain your sales team because they're selling something different. Right. You got to retrain your fulfillment different because the fulfillment is different.
When I say the season of working not in your business, like working on your business and not in your business, is literally the most Like it could take you out.
Oh my God, it ain't for the faint of heart.
No,
It
where
ain't
you're
for the
like,
faint
I
of
did
heart.
all of this and I don't like it anymore. So I need to like scrap and start over.
And it makes no sense to other people.
None.
It makes some.
You have a thing that works that generates revenue. What are you doing?
Makes no sense.
And then you're like, but it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel impactful. It doesn't feel purposeful anymore.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's not hitting with the people that I'm serving.
Yeah, but it's the true test of entrepreneur. But I don't. The reason why I pause, I'm so careful with words, because it's more than an entrepreneur. It's a different self-identifier. It's a purpose-driven entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
It's an entrepreneur that realizes that I build it. I decide the life I want to live, and I build a business as a vehicle to live that life. That the life becomes first, the business becomes second.
Absolutely.
I want to arrive here. Do I want to go by plane, train, or car?
Right.
That the business becomes what type of vehicle allows me to arrive there. Right? So that's the type of entrepreneur that gives up something that currently makes you money to create something that gives you money and fulfillment.
When did you get crystal clear on the life you wanted so that you could, or does that evolve and change? Because I know for me that evolves and change. Like I will go full throttle on something and then I look back and I'm like, you built something you don't like. And girl, you built something you don't like.
Yeah.
Like you built something you hate and you ain't got nobody else to blame for it but you. You did it. So now you have to revisit what you want your life to look like and what you wanted it to look like 3 years ago and the length of time it took you to build this. You don't even like this anymore. This isn't what you're after. This isn't what you want. So how many times have you had to evolve, like sit in and evolve? This ain't it. And this is so far from, I'm so high in service or impact, but I'm so far from what Marcus wants and needs. And I think that is not equivalent to doing work we don't like. Because there's always going to be some work that we don't like, which is funny because as an entrepreneur, I've realized there's things I thought I didn't like that I actually just didn't know. And then when I got really good at them, or I was willing and open to exploring them, like I used to joke, if you would scroll back the first 2 years of my podcast, when I say all I ever said was I sucked at money management, I might as well have like manifested it for myself. And then as I have gotten into it, as a CEO has to over the last couple of years, I am obsessed.
That's so good.
I love it. But I wasn't building my life around it. And it was so easy for me to say that didn't matter to me or I didn't care or blah, 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 So it's like, how many times do you have to reassess where you are hitting the mark on both?
Whew. You would hope that you have at least quarterly getaways. Mm-hmm. That doesn't have to be.
Boy, that sit in it be real, don't it?
Yeah.
You got to be willing to sit in it.
Well, that and you want a tribe, right? So you want people who, like, our relationship is that it is in a flex session. It's not.
No.
Right?
No. You've never called me and been like, what's on your offer suite?
Right, right. It ain't that killed it today. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not a bashing one another. Like it's a safe space to celebrate.
Yeah.
And so I think frequent and often, and it's finding the balance between the celebration of your intellect and the examination of your ignorance. Celebrate what I know that I did well and examine the gaps of where I'm ignorant and I don't know what I don't know. And now putting yourself in those environments to visit what you're not until you become it. Hey, I'm in an environment with you that looks peaceful. I visited peace. Now I realize I need that. Now, how do you do that? How do you create margin in your day? How do you create rhythm in your schedule? So you're visiting what you're not. And you're not despising it and you're not mad at a person for having it. You're not jealous. You just got questions. I ain't jealous. I don't want what you want, but what you have. But I got questions.
It's kind of nice over there.
You doing what? For how long? How you doing that? Right. So it's a healthy curiosity.
I'm listening to this and I want to invite someone that's listening to hear this part. This is what I have gotten a chance to garner, play in, and like be really joyful in is the community that I have created when I hit a certain benchmark. And I don't even know that it's financial. I just think it's this like entrepreneurial network that we all kind of play in, across the board, and where it's the equivalent of like, I kind of think what Brene Brown talks about a lot, which is like, don't worry about the folks outside the arena. You know, go work in and commune with people that are in the ring.
Yeah.
And so I think that just, I mean, it still happens from time to time, but getting a chance to do what you say, visit, the higher you go, it's almost like it eliminates envy.
That's so good.
So it's like, I'm not in spaces anymore where I'm like, man, that, like before these cameras hit record, you were like, look what these numbers are doing. And I'm like, how? And you didn't gatekeep, you didn't pause. You weren't like, well, it's going to take you some time. Like you were like, oh, let me tell you what I'm doing. And you can do this.
Yeah.
Like you just, the floodgates open because there's just so little envy, because at no point where we're all running our own race, we're like, hey, yeah. You want to get on this train? Come. Yeah. Like you want some of this? You visited, you like this, you see this, you want some? Pass.
Yeah.
This takes nothing from me.
That I have not like, so I'm, you know how private I am, right?
Yeah.
So like, I'm not the person online that ever shares numbers and personal life and things of that nature. I'm so learning and excited about it. It's like a kid. Mommy, look, right? You just rolled for the first time with no training wheels. I so didn't know YouTube. And I'm still trying to figure out YouTube. And I'm still, like, for the first time with podcasting, I went to a podcast event. I remember calling you. And I was like, for the first time, I went to an event where I didn't know anybody and nobody invited me into the circle.
As the expert. Right? Yeah, I'm a student.
To where they would ask me a question and I would have to Google the words they were using. Like, I was so out of my element and so ignorant. I was like, now some people be intimidated. I loved it. So it's so bad.
Teach me something I don't
know. Like when
we
talk about stuff like click-through with YouTube, like click-through rates, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know what was a good rate or bad rate, so I didn't know what was a win.
Right.
I didn't know. So it's
am I winning over here? I don't know.
It's so many things I didn't know, or even when I was telling you about names and this. So I'm like, I'm following my instinct to say, hey, let's do this that we know about business and track this. Let's create this separate. Let's test this out. Let's insert this. Let me seed and let me go into the podcast and seed like we would if we were doing an event and see how that works. Yeah. And I'm like, ooh. Yeah. Right? And I'm looking, and what I showed you, I'm like, this is crazy. Now I did it intentionally. Yeah. So now I know how to do it. Yep. Now it's, okay, here's how we track this. Let's do more of that in this way.
You just used a word that made me think that might be, actually, that was my word this year. Was intentionality. Wow. I was like, the more conversations I have, what is the most exciting thing? And it's when I'm doing something, but I hear someone doing it more intentionally. And I'm like, oh, and it's everything from business to peace, to relationships, to partnerships, to connections, to networking, where I'm like, wow, they're way more intentional about that thing. Even if it's like eating habits. Yeah. Like, I'm like, they're way more intentional than I am. Like, how can I be more intentional and more attentive in all the things that I'm already doing? Yeah. And like be more present in them and just give a little more. I don't know that it's effort. It's intentionality. Like be more reasonable and in what I'm doing. And you gave an example from YouTube, but I'm like everything in life. Like I'm like, I want to be more intentional. Yeah. Yeah. And I want to visit the folks. I love that you explained it as a visit. I want to visit the folks that are more intentional so that I can implement that into every aspect of my life. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Which I hope you pause and to celebrate yourself, because you are, like, man, from when I met you to now. I know. I see this like every time I ask you, what's going on, how you feel? Because it literally is like this exciting moment to see how you're growing so fast in so many ways. And me too, right? So it's mentally, emotionally, certain muscles I didn't work as much. So I worked the muscle of discipline a whole lot. Yeah. Like last year when I was talking about, like, man, I realized for some people it was a good year. For me, it was just discipline. I was so burned out. Yeah. So burned out and just functioning. Yeah. And you all was on me about creating space in that. Man, it's so bad for 5 years after the event you came to. That Monday was the first time in 5 years I had ever canceled. Like, I'm that disciplined. Never. If I do not cancel stuff. So much so that my clients were like, is everything all right? Like, they thought everything was on fire. You know? Burnout don't feel like how you thought it would, does it? Nah. Now you can be fully functional. It's like depression. Yeah. You can be fully functional, completely burned out. How did you know?
think creativity wasn't there.
Yeah.
Right. So
Blank slate.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it became much harder and much longer. It
Yeah.
wasn't coming to me. I had to go get it.
Yep.
So like most things, when I'm in my space, it comes to me.
Yeah.
And I refer to that from a faith standpoint. So I think regardless of what people believe, right? So there are some beautiful principles we find in my faith. I'm a follower of what I say the person principles. And the person principles and patterns of Jesus is what I follow, right? The person, how he lived his life, principles, which was his value system, right? And the pattern. What is the pattern of how he managed relationships, time? He's the most productive person to ever walk the earth in 3.5 years. He accomplished everything that he was put on earth to do. So he's the most productive person to ever live. That's the pattern. Here's my point. What we find is so beautiful when I'm reading biblically in Genesis, I read the Bibles looking for like strategy, how to live life, how to. There's a term in Hebrew Greek that's known as a metron. And here's my point. It just means you're an area of authority, right? Yeah. Or some would call it your zone of genius. Yeah. Is what I refer to it as. As long as you're in that, things come to you. So we find that with Adam. First pattern, that when he's in his zone of genius, the animals and everything comes to him. Yeah. When he's outside of that and he's banished from the garden, he now has to fight and chase for the thing to now surrender itself to him. This is what it is like when a person is not in that space. They have to chase what should come to them. They're not attracted anymore. A fish don't leave the water and try to figure out how it's going to eat. Because in your zone of genius where you were put in the earth to be, what you need is in that environment. Absolutely. Humanity is the only thing God ever made that leaves its environment and then asks God and other people to provide for them. So we leave purpose to chase money and then ask, why am I unfulfilled? Fulfillment does not come. Money is a moving finish line. There don't never feel like there. A lot is never feel like a lot. A lot is control, alt, delete as soon as you get it. Yeah. Right? Yep. So a lot is always more than what you previously had. So that zone of genius, man, it is that space of the garden. You know, proverbially the garden where effortless abundance. It is the place that I'm created to be, where everything I need is there. It produces for me. I've got fulfillment. I've got purpose. I've got spiritual relationship. I've got fruitfulness. I know and I'm confirmed that I'm where I'm supposed to be. The only thing Adam was lacking, it's not good for you to be alone. You don't have someone on your level. Yeah. Right? So now it's this whole thing coming together. People on my level, something I'm fulfilled in, the thing that I love doing. Let me word it this way. The thing that you're given to is given back to you. Right? So it's reciprocity in your work. Yes. It doesn't mean that you give me what I give you. It just means I give to you what you need, you give to me what I need. Correct. It does not have to be 50-50. Yep. Because I might not need 50. Yeah. You might need 90 and I got enough to give you. I might need 10. Yep. What people don't talk about is 90-10 is reciprocity if it's what I need. Dang. Dang. You give me a little something. If it's what I need. If you use it, yep. As long as it's what I need. If I don't need a lot, and I give to you and you give back to me, just give to me the level of reciprocity that I need. Okay. What is your genius? Man, for me, you probably can tell it now. When it comes to communication, man, like that's my thing. Yeah. Everything that I've ever built flows out of that. I think your excellence is like the frameworks that you create, that you live your life by, the strategy, which kind of keeps you in your box. But your genius is your communication. Absolutely. Here's why. And when people hear it, they think speaking from stage, they think this. No. When I say communication, it is the ability for someone to be able to package, market, and produce a thought, whatever that looks like. So if the thought in your head is I want to be married, you can't get married without communication. Facts. If the thought in your head is I want to grow a business, you can't do that without communication. Right. If the thought in your head is I want to be a better parent, you can't do that without communication. So it is to help a person take the images, the ideas, the thoughts in their head and package that to communicate that either through lifestyle, whether that's through time management and action or through words. Yeah. Right. So that's taking the picture in your head, because you don't speak with your mouth, you speak with your mind. Right. You don't even like, you know what I'm saying? You don't even see with your eyes, you see with your mind. Right. So when we're talking communication, it's how do you take what's in your mind and find an expression of that? Yeah. That's what an artist does. The artist takes the picture in their head and draw it in art. That's communication. Right. That's what clothing does. The person takes an image in their head, raw materials, and produce it into something that speaks. They call it a fashion statement.
Right. Right.
Right? That's what a writer does. Love is an image in your head
Yes.
that has to be expressed with your body. So it communicates a love language.
Wow. God. Oh my God.
Yeah. So communication takes on so many forms, and most people's frustration is because they're bottled up with the image in their head and they don't know how to communicate that externally.
And you communicate that.
I help them
And
communicate
you teach
that.
people how to communicate.
And you
that.
need you need a vehicle for that. You need
Yeah.
an outlet.
Yeah.
Like the canvas becomes the outlet for the artist.
Yep.
The song becomes the outlet for the musician. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The person becomes the outlet and expression of love. And if that's bottled up and a person don't know how to release that, how do I explain this? So in business, I'm saying I believe that we all need. I love business because business is a great expression of what we see.
Yeah.
It serves and helps people. If it's done correctly, it's not business. It's a legal entity that supports an idea
Yeah.
or an image or a thought. That's all it is, right? So, my business is this. That's the legal entity that supports and protects an image and an idea you had. That's it.
Marcus, this is so good.
It ain't
This is
that
so good.
deep.
This is so good. Oh my God, I could talk to you forever. Okay. So tell them what they can look forward to from you.
Yeah, okay.
Tell them what they can look forward to from you.
Yeah.
Tell them where they can find you, because if they're not already following you, they will be searching and hunting for you now.
Yeah.
Tell them where they can find you and what's up next for you.
Yeah. So what they can expect from me is me supporting whoever that person is to create a life of wealth. When I say wealth, that means the ability to do what you love, help the people you love without wondering, can you afford it? So you
Right.
get to be you. The way that we're going about doing that is we're helping specifically coaches, entrepreneurs, business owners be able to make no less than 5 figures a month while working less than 8 hours. Right? So we show them how to create the system that does that with a few different things. Done for you offer messaging. I only coach you on what I built for you. Doesn't make sense for adult learners that have to sit in classroom style learn things. Let me create the messaging for you, create the offer for you, create the business model for you, pricing, you name it. And then I'm going to coach you on communication, how to articulate what it is that you have and who you are for your audience.
Yep.
How to close sales. How do you get people to actually buy from you without it feeling salesy or you're convincing someone to do something? And then how to set up a fulfillment system that is seamless and automated. So now you literally get a chance to live your life. So like for me, I only coach on one day of the week. And imagine having all these clients and be able to do that. That's what I help people do. Build a business around their life so they can do the things they love, help the people they love without wondering, can they afford it?
And where do they follow you?
Man, I'm the easiest person in the world. I'm easy. Whether you're the FBI jealous girlfriend, Marcus Rosier. Marcus, the letter Y, Rosier. So you got to put the Y in there. Marcus Y. Rosier.
Got it. Marcus.
Check my podcast, YouTube, all of that. Like, we're trying to grow this thing.
Come on, podcast,
Check it out.
YouTube.
Yeah.
All right, Marcus, I appreciate you.
I love you. I absolutely love you. Can
I love you
say
too.
one word
Thank
to
you
you?
so much. Yes.
Here's why I'm excited about sitting here with you. I know without a shadow of a doubt that we'll look back years from now, and the same way we celebrate innovations like your Ubers, your Lyfts, your YouTubes, your life is going to be like for someone else. Someone needs you to happen so they can happen.
Thank you. I received that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Rich in real life. I appreciate you.
Let me hold on.